Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jen Liss, the podcast that's here to help you break free, be you, and unleash your inner brilliance. I'm your host, Jen, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the practical application of breathwork. Let's dive in. Hey there, friend. It's Jen. Welcome back to the podcast. We are in the mode of Brilliance of Breathwork month. Each week, we are talking about a different topic related to this amazing modality that I know is transforming lives, that I am personally so passionate about, highlighting practitioners who do all sorts of different kinds of breath work with all sorts of different kinds of people and all of the ways that it can support you. And this week, we are talking about the practical application of breathwork. Like, how do we practically incorporate this into our lives? And I had to invite the amazing Caylin Brie onto the podcast. Now, Caylin was on the podcast a little while back with her partner, Chrissy. They are two amazing human beings who have an initiative, a podcast, a freaking powerhouse mission to heal the world, to help people heal themselves, because they have healed themselves. If you want to go back and listen to that episode, it's absolutely beautiful. And I invited Caylin alone because she does breath work. That is one of the big things that she herself done. It's been a pivotal thing in her journey, which you will hear about here in the episode. But she is a practical, I'm going to get it done, make it happen kind of human. So I was like, you are the perfect person to come talk to people about, like, how can I logistically really work this into my incredibly busy life? Like, maybe I don't always have an hour, maybe I don't always have 30 minutes, but I have a little bit of time, or maybe I just, this sounds like too much. It sounds too intense. It sounds too like mystical and weird and spiritual. And that's not for me, but I just really want to try something that's going to help me with my anxiety, that's going to help me with my back pain, with my headaches, with my shoulder pain. How can breathwork help me do that? And that's what she does. It's what she's here to talk about. Caylin has an amazing YouTube. She is on Insight Timer. She teaches breath work, and she does short sessions. She does lengthy sessions. She sometimes partners with Chrissy, who does Reiki. They do partnered sessions together. She does all kinds of work, but she does it through this lens of her understanding and her journey that she's been on, which was very resistant to this kind of stuff. And then finally coming to realize her way. And that's like such an important message that you're going to hear in this episode. And I'm just looking forward to you meeting her at a deeper level. She's such a cool human being. She's got a new book out. So go and check her out. All of her links are in the show notes. Everybody, welcome to the podcast, Caylin Brie. Hi, Caylin.
Hi.
It's so beautiful to have you back. For anybody who has been a longtime listener, Caylin was on the podcast a while back with her beautiful sidekick, Chrissy, and today you're here solo.
Here I am.
Here she is. So excited to have you here to talk breathwork. So you and I, when we met, we were both, breath workers, and we have so much just really fun, juicy crossover in all of these ways. And yet we're also so unique and different. And I think it's so important that we highlight all of the different facets. It doesn't matter if you're in breathwork, or if you're a painter, or if you're a writer, or if you're a coach, or whatever the heck you are in this world, to see that there's so many other cool people doing it. And that doesn't mean that you can't do it too. Like, there's so much space for all of us to be using our gifts.
Come one, come all. Let's go. Breathe with me.
And you're fully one of those people. I have to say, one of the things that I appreciate about you so much, you have just me. You're all about everybody. You share everybody's everything. You're just the most beautiful example of just let's all rise together. Let's all heal together.
Yes. Thank you. I love it. I love to see people shine. When I see people rising up, it's it makes my heart full. I guess because I suffered once myself, and it hurts me to see people suffering. And so if I meet you and we vibe, you're in the Caylin world, and you're going to be coming right with me, right? I just can't think about even doing it alone or not helping someone. I mean, this is why we're here, to shine our light and to help people shine their light too. So when I see it, it's like, yay, my little heart goes crazy for it. It's an exciting time for most people. A lot of people are waking up and realizing it. And I love to see it. I love to see it.
And you're at the forefront of so much of it too, with your initiative with Heal Your Life with Us and what you and Chrissy are doing. And also yourself, you have a new book.
Yeah,
Please tell us about this book. I have to have a feeling that it has something to do with your breathwork journey. This is very relevant. So tell us about this book, what inspired it, and your journey to breathwork.
Thank you. Yeah, huge part of it is breathwork. Huge part. Many chapters included, and it's dedicated, 2 or 3 chapters alone, but the book is called Change Your Story. And I was dedicated to changing my story. I didn't like the story that I had, right? I was filled with pain, chronic suffering, 30 years of just trudging up that victim hill, right? It was like, woe is me. What's today going to bring? Is it going to be painful? What don't I have control of? How much stress and strife is going to run the day? Anxiety filled my world. And then bad thing after bad thing just kept pushing me down. And I got a little sick and tired of it, where I was like, okay, I need to build a toolbox that I can pull out when I'm having all of these moments, when I'm having the good days, the bad days, the trying days, the traumatic days, right? A lot of trauma happened that I just bury deep down. And I have a feeling many of us do that to not really deal with it. And breath work and meditation were a big, huge part of pulling all of that to the surface, but also processing and expressing it. You don't just need to deal with it. You need to process it. Like, a computer program. It was like my brain just kept going over it and over it again and again with no answers except feel bad for me. Everyone out there, please feel bad for this. And no one was. Many years, even the people I loved were probably so sick of hearing it. And then it turned tables on me and I was sick of hearing it. So Change Your Story is the entire compilation of everything that I did, so many things, way too many things, that really helped me to change my mindset, change my physical body, and change my, really, truly my path, my path to intuition, my path to trust and forgiveness. And breathwork is the core foundation. I started with my body, started with, the foundational diet and really, truly listening to what my body needed. But the very next step was breathwork. And I, at first, had tried it. 15 years I meditated with small amounts of breathwork. It was mostly meditation. But earlier on in my 20s, I remember saying, okay, what's this meditation thing all about? I'm going to try and tackle it. And I did the thing that I think most people do, where you're like, okay, like, where is my moment? Where's the light bulb? Where am I going to start to
Where's
feel
the
better?
payoff?
Yeah. Where's the eat, pray, love moment? Like, when are we going to have the payoff? Right. And I just sat and I tried it and I used the things. And then literally on the 16th year during this sort of awakening with me, it connected, I think, because of the breath work. It's like, it's almost as if you can't really do meditation by itself. It's almost paired with breath work in order to ignite that healing, right? It's like the spark. And so once I paired the two, and I'll share some of the ways that I did it and some of the things that I do, but really they're hand in hand. It's peanut butter and jelly with this. There's no one without the other now. When I go sit down to meditate, it's breathing. I start with the breath and then the meditation comes even, so it's got so many benefits. For me, it was true physical healing. And I didn't really even start to believe until I saw that physical healing. I'm a skeptic in my nature. And so
me too.
When I started to see the physical results, like I would breathe a stomach ache away. I was like, okay, now we're talking, now we're getting somewhere. This isn't just a mental, I feel a little better. This is like immune boosting, nervous system balancing breath work. And I was like, this is real and I'm going to master it. And I was like, this is it. I'm going in. So
I love it. You're one of those people. You're like, okay, I'm in it to win it. And you move forward. I know you're a manifesting generator. You make shit happen. It's freaking amazing. I look at you and I'm like, how are you doing so many amazing things? And you're like, that's just who I am, which is a beautiful thing. You understand who you are and what you bring to this world. And
That took a minute.
Yeah. It just took 16 years, you know.
It took a couple of tests and some reports and charts and a whole lot of trust, but I figured it out. Finally, it only took me 40 years. It's totally fine.
I think something I'm going to connect for the listeners who've been along with us through this brilliance of breathwork journey. Andrea Freemeyer, she's one of my mentors, and she came and talked about the science of breathwork. And what you're saying here, I'm just going to connect a couple of dots for the listeners. And if you haven't listened to that episode, totally okay. But something that she said, she talked about processing, which is something that you talked about. And it's like, we have to go in and like actually process this stuff. And part of that is feeling. And so that's an important thing. And then also what you said about the physicality and how that's peanut butter and jelly with mindfulness and your nervous system, because breathing is going to activate that parasympathetic, which is where our creativity is happening. That's where we actually can activate parts of the brain that help us to engage in mindfulness. So all of this stuff fits together, and you're just reasserting things that we've been learning along the way. And I'm sure these are things that you've learned along your journey too. It's like these things actually go hand in hand. So you're here to tell us some of the like really practical stuff, and you're the perfect person to be like, here's the practical stuff. Like, I just want to tell you how you can legitimately use this in your life. So like, in your everyday life, how are you using breathwork? Are you like waking up in the morning? Like, walk us through. Are you like doing an hour-long deep dive? Like, what are the ways in which you are physically using it yourself? We can talk about clients too, but yourself.
So first and foremost, I do want to say, as you're learning, find what works for you. You can learn, there are so many types of breathwork, right? Like massive amounts of types. And I went through all of them to find what worked for me. There were several people who were like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I tried it and I was like, I don't know. So find what works for you, and we can talk about some of the different types. But I was also not one of those people that was going to go into the forest for 3 weeks, and sit and just really, truly like put the flower crown on my head and absorb life. That's not me. Like, I'm not going to stop my projects. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing, my work, my love, my dog. Like, I'm not going to stop any of that. So knowing that about myself, and I'm sure that's how a lot of us feel, right? That life doesn't stop for your healing. So I wanted to find ways to include micro moments of mindfulness in your day, right? So to me, it was like, how much time are you going to dedicate to your self-care, which to me is like hygiene? How much time are you going to dedicate to showering, brushing your teeth, making your bed, right? All of those things you don't even think about. You just do them because they're part of your hygienic physical. So I incorporated it the same way. When I thought about it, I was like, okay, if I know after breakfast, I brush my teeth, before and after breakfast, I brush my teeth, that is when I'm going to splice it in. Now, there are things, and there are people that say, meditate when you're doing the dishes. Okay. I was not one of those people. I was like, I'm doing the dishes. I hate the dishes. I'm going to think about hating the dishes until I'm done hating the dishes. Like, I just couldn't put those connective dots until after I was in a healing place. When you're healing, you're mad. You're angry, you're frustrated, you're in pain, you're not seeing results. And so you have to work towards those joyous moments. So how I did this was I learned, I absorbed, I watched the videos, I took the breathwork sessions, and I highly encourage you to do that at the beginning. Don't jump in on your own and say, I know how to do this. The humble mind goes further, right? So the learning, always being the student. So that is what I suggest in the beginning is go to the breathwork session, take the retreats, go seek professional help, because you will learn, and then incorporate it into your day. So those micro moments for me started out as mornings. So my mornings used to be filled with anxiety. I would wake up and it would grip me and be like, what are we worrying about today, Caylin? Let's go. And I had to beat that down with a meditation stick, like with all of my might. So I wake up every morning. First thing I do, I have a dream thing going on, so I'm writing down my dreams, but I turn on Insight Timer, which I am a part of. Insight Timer has been my world this year. What a wonderful, wonderful app, which I now became a teacher on. I turn on Insight Timer and I put what speaks to me on. The important thing about meditation is what is calling to you in the moment. It's not always going to be a deep breathing session. It's not always going to be mindfulness. It's going to be dealing with your root chakra sometimes. It's going to be processing forgiveness, cord cutting. It's going to be different ones, but whatever speaks to me in that moment, I don't do anything else. I get up and I put my robe on. I go to my little office, low lighting, calm energy in the morning. And I do 15 minutes of straight breathing and listening to guided. Now I do guided because I'm a man gen, and man gens need that speakingness to reel them in. If you are the type of person that needs nothing and music, listen to that, right? So 15 minutes in the morning for me. Now I know that may seem like a lot to some, but if you can even do 5 minutes in the morning, do it. If you can do 1 minute in the morning, do it, because it will build. I began with 1, then it went to 5, now it's 15, sometimes it's 30, depends on my morning. Then that's sort of the day, how I get going. So it is guided in the beginning because my mind and brain can't think in the morning. I can't even process. I haven't had my coffee. I don't even like, you ask me a question, I'm not going to know anything.
I love your realness. It's so good.
That helps. That helps me to chug it along and get it going. And with that, I get up, I put my workout clothes on, I do my yoga. So it's almost like this preamble to get up and move your body with it after, right? Then I do my walk. So, and then I'm a writer. So I have to sit and be at the computer. So I do a midday break. I take my lunch break every day. Are you listening, people? I take my lunch break. Take your lunch break. Okay. And you go outside or do whatever you can. And I ground, I put my feet in the ground and I do my own meditation at midday. My brain's going, my creative juices are flowing. Mostly my pain is usually down or whatever it is. And I just sit with nature. I look, skies, trees, talk to the dragonflies, whatever it is. I be with nature because that's my connection. I'm a fixed earth energy. So that's what I do. Okay. So whatever your sign is, go be with it, right? If you're a water sign, air sign, whatever it is. But just sitting and being with nature is instant grounding, instant reset, right? And that's when I just do a couple of deep breaths. They may not be what I do in the morning of so much, but it is a reset. So you're thinking of just being mindful of the breath. It may not be so controlled. It's just a couple of deep breaths to get you going. Again, 3 deep breaths is less than 1 minute. So you can do this 1 minute, 3 deep breaths can reset your nervous system. So that's my midday. And then afterwards, I create, some space and time right before the end of my day. This is like 1 to 3 minutes still sitting at my desk. I'm tired from the 8-hour workday. I know I need to cook dinner. I know I need to switch from work mode to wife mode. So I take 1 to 3 minutes and I just kind of sit back in my chair at my desk and I release that technological brain, right? The screen time. And I just say, wow, you did such a great day. And I add gratitude. You did this and this and this today, even if it's like nothing. I don't even care. You did this, you got up, you put your clothes on, whatever it is. I incorporate gratitude in that 1 minute. And then the last one is my nighttime routine, which is my biggest one. I have a hard time falling asleep because I have to turn off the man-gen brain. And so I do 40 minutes to an hour of deep breathing and guided meditation. Now at this nighttime one, I do use the breathe ball. And the breathe ball is literally just breathing in and out. And it's the slowest one I can get, the 5-7. So in for 5, out for 7. That's what I do at night because that gets me into the nighttime routine. And I got to tell you, I haven't been able to get through the last couple ones because I'm falling asleep at the 30-minute mark. So it's helping me to turn it off by listening to that sound of in and out slow. Deep, deep breathing at night. And that really slows it down. It signifies to the brain that it's time to shut down. So, and I try not to use the phone. I just listen. I don't use the screen. So mine are really tool related. Honestly, I have a lot of apps that I use, but eventually there are times when I just sit and breathe and I have to turn off the noise in my head. But I have learned through breathwork and meditation that that noise, that monkey mind that everyone's trying to turn off, I don't try to turn it off anymore. This is the messages. Those are the whispers of your soul being like, hey, this is coming up because you're clear. Stop trying to turn me off. Just change the channel. it's not so much monkey mind anymore, right? We're feeding your soul for what you need to hear. So oftentimes in my meditation, I have to have a journal right next to me because I got to write this down. I'm going to forget. So that's one thing I've learned. I don't really agree with the turning off the monkey mind anymore. If you're ruminating and it's anxiety, yes. But if your soul's talking to you and it's sending you little signs during your meditations, you should listen. Those are big messages, right? Some of my biggest business goals and strategies have come during those moments where I'm like, we need to do this. And so it is birthed from breath work for sure.
Wow. Thank you for walking us through your day. And I hope that as Caylin's going along this, you're thinking about, okay, how could I incorporate just these little things? You're so practical about this. And you're like, it might be just those 3 breaths. Like maybe you start with just at lunch, you take 3 deep breaths.
Yeah. That's all you need is 1 minute. If that's all you have to give right now, give it, right? And then you're like, well, okay, I guess I could do 3 minutes, right? And you don't have to do morning, noon, and night. That's kind of what I did because I am on a severe healing journey, right? If you're just looking to work it into your day, you could literally sit at your desk and practice breath work during a meeting, during a stressful call where you are not presenting. You can sit there and monitor your breaths. One of my favorite techniques, and I've talked about this on several of our podcasts at Heal Your Life with Us, is the Silva method. Are you familiar?
I've heard of it. I don't remember what that is exactly.
So Jose Silva created this mind control method. I'm not sure I agree with the title, but mind control feels like enigma.
Feels kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah, a little scary, but that's fine. I'm sure my mind needs a little control. So Silva method's super simple too. You literally, and once you get the hang of it, you will do it, but you literally just count backward. You close your eyes, turn your eyes up to your third eye and just look, because it's like when you're thinking about something, you're trying to imagine it. And you just count backwards from 100. And sometimes it takes a bit, but once you get going, you really, since you're focusing on those numbers, counting down, 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 you can't think of anything else. By the time you get to 5, you stop and you say, by the time I get to 0, I will feel restored, rested, in perfect health, better and better every day, healthier and healthier in every way. Okay. I've been doing this for 8 months, twice a day. By the 6th month, I started to see results. That's how long it takes, y'all. Don't expect results overnight, but I was consistent with it. So I believe that my body started to listen to my brain, right? Instead of saying, I'm unhealthy, I'm never going to heal, I have this chronic injury, this pain, all these things. It was like, oh, you are better and better every day. You are healthier and healthier every day. And since I paired it with the breath work, which is doubly hard because you're counting and trying to breathe, it really helps you to focus the mind. And so now, and then you can break it down. You could do 150, 25. You could even go down from 5 once you're in it. And he calls it the alpha brain. You're reaching alpha brain status. And I can feel it, man. My intuition turns on. I get clear about things. My body feels rested and restored. It's like this instant reset button. So I highly recommend it.
That's beautiful. It's also, I've done a lot of hypnotherapy, and that one of the hypnotherapists that I worked with, that was the closing that she had me do. And when I do my self hypnotherapy, it's, I am better and better every day and every single way. That's what I say to myself. And so it's really like a riff on that, which I didn't realize that was part of the Silva method. I'd heard of it, but hadn't ever actually tried it. So that's an awesome tool.
Yeah, your body is totally listening. So watch those thoughts. And one thing I learned is that even though, we're breathing through things, your mind could still be thinking poorly, right? So you really do have to match that. You have to match that with your breath work, right? So as you're breathing, what are you thinking, right? Because your body's keeping score. And so a lot of it, affirmations are great, but if you're not believing what you're saying, it's not really, it's all you're doing is just checking a box. You need to find something that speaks to you. And I loved better and better every day, right? Because that's like a path I can follow. So really, truly, your body is listening to everything and it's holding the thing. So that breath work helps to move and channel it out, right? So like I said, I breathed through a stomach ache, literally. And I was like, whoa, I'm doing this every time. Just a few days ago, I had a stomach ache and I was like, honey, I'm going to go do some breath work. Maybe did 15 minutes, gone like that. Just deep belly breathing. It was
Mhm.
glorious to have that tool in my toolbox.
That's so beautiful. I experience that too. I suffer from a lot of migraines and I've had so many fewer migraines. I've breathed away. It doesn't work every time. It depends on my level of where I'm at and what's going on. But the fact that I can breathe some of them away is a miracle. And I've seen it in session with clients where they're like, I came in with a cold and I left without it. It's amazing. And it's a mixture of the whether you want to call it an affirmation or a thing that you're saying to yourself or a belief, but we do have to find, you're so right on about that. We have to find something that our brain actually believes.
Yeah.
Because if our brain doesn't believe it, it's like, you're a liar. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Right. And that's what I was doing for like 20 years. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm smart. I'm doing all these things. And I'm like, I don't believe that. I don't believe one word of that. Right. I'm still in pain. And that's when I realized that we really do need to find what works for you. What works for someone else may not work for you. And I was desperately trying to do what everyone else was doing, let alone my holistic nutritionist and the doctors that were helping me. And I was also reliant on them to fix me. And I did not believe that my body could heal itself until I started to see those results. And then I was like, oh, wow, breath can heal you, right? Like, the breath of fire technique, I don't know if you use that a lot, but I have done it every day in the morning, just 5 minutes. I know that seems like a lot, actually. Like when you're breathing short, rapid fire breaths for 5 minutes, a lot of people feel like they could pass out or they could get lightheaded. The first time I did it, I got a little lightheaded. Then I realized I needed to breathe deeper into my belly. And then it was like at the end, the guy said, just listen and feel to the sensations of what are in your body. And as I did that, I was like, ooh, I like this because I feel high and I always want to feel high, right? Like I want to get that. I was like, this is what it must feel like to do, the big drugs, right? Like this is like, I wanted to feel that oxygen in my body. And so I do it every morning. And I believe that the breath of fire is the one immune boosting technique for transformational breath work. If you can incorporate that in any way, being safe about it and being supported while you do it. But wow.
Will you explain what that breath is just for somebody who's listening, who's never done that one?
Yeah. So it's one of my favorites. So breath of fire is literally, and there's many different versions, but the one I do is you just focus on the short exhale. Don't worry about the inhale. You can do it through your nose or through your mouth, but I do it through my nose because I've learned a little bit about through the breath book by James Nestor about breathing in through your mouth. So I do it into my nose and it's like the shortest exhale from the belly you can ever do. You're not even thinking about the inhale at all. It's just quick, rapid fire breaths. So I have a timer. I do it. I try to roll my eyes up like the Silva. I try to keep my back straight. I try to breathe only through my belly. And your belly will go in and out so fast that I heard if you keep doing it, you'll get abs. You're strengthening your core muscles so much that you really have no choice. That stomach is really engaged. And since you're engaging your core, your belly, that's the core root of all that immune boosting. You're moving things around. So I do it in the morning and it's just that short, rapid fire breath work. It's great. There's a lot of great teachers and trainers on this. I highly recommend checking that out first before you try it on your own. So
yeah, for sure. And I teach this one too. I've learned there's so many different, which is why I'm highlighting so many different people in this initiative, because there's different things that it's called. I call it the blow breath. And yes, it can go through the nose or through the mouth. And I always just tell people it's snapping the belly on the exhale. You're really focusing on that exhale. It's my favorite breath. Whether it's through the nose or through the mouth. And I agree with you on there's so much more research being done about mouth breathing and over breathing. And Andrea talked about that in her episode too. There are benefits to doing it sometimes for short periods, but we don't want to be over breathing through the mouth all the time. Just there's biological reasons to keep it through the nose as much as we can.
As we can. Yeah. During breathwork sessions, I think it's okay. Honestly, I think it has some benefits to it. You're really using different passageways, but if you are a sleeper that has a mouth open, you really got to tape it. You got to do the whole James Nestor taping thing and really try it out. We've had results. Chrissy was a mouth breather and she did it and literally saw physiological changes. Her temperature, body temperature would go up, her immune system, like she just didn't get sick. Like she didn't wake up with that feeling of dried energy. So there's a lot of great benefits to it. But during a breathwork session, I think a transformational breathwork session, which I think is different than a mindful session. And there's lots of different things, you want to tackle what you need at the moment, which is another thing that you'll learn. And your journey is some days you just don't need the mindful moments, right? You're like, I'm good. I feel zen today. What I do need is to get rid of this backache and the stomach ache. So we're going to do the deep breathing and we're going to do the transformational breath work. So listening to that intuition of what you need in the moment is, I think, another aspect to it, because the more clear you get, the more you'll know exactly what you need. So
yeah, that's beautiful. I think one of the most powerful messages you've shared today is just do what works for you.
You have to. You can't listen. I mean, listen to other people, learn, and then take it and make it yours. I think that a lot of people say, I have to do it this way because I was told. And I did that for so long and it just no results. It was like, I just kept waiting. And it's like, well, if it works for them, why is it not working for me? And Chrissy and I talk about that all the time. She's yin, I'm yang. What works for her doesn't work for me. And once you find your groove, like my little morning routines or whatever it is, man, it's a beautiful flow. And that's all you're trying to do is reach that flow state, right? That's what breath is, right? But it's work. That's why they call it breath work, right? It's right in the title. So you have to put the work in. You can't say, I'm going to breathe on Saturday. Okay, it's Wednesday. You need to breathe today. So you have to put the work in, which means a couple of minutes, a couple of times, like, figure out the times. And now I go to it. Like, it's like, I'm excited for it, right? I used to be excited to go to the bar. Now I'm excited for my breathwork sessions, right? It's like a little time for myself, right? And get the sacred bath going or whatever it is. You go outside and it's like, can't wait for these moments. Like be sitting in a meeting, just waiting. And that's when you've hit your flow. You're like, okay, I found my groove with my breathwork. This is it.
Well, yeah. And finding your flow, your very exact flow too, because you say the word work and I'm like, I have like cognitive dissonance to the word work. I'm like, can we call it like breath magic or like breath glitter or something? For people into human design, we've talked about you being a man gen. I'm a generator. And I'm just like,
you're a worker.
Have fun and have fun all the time and work. Ooh, no, I don't want that. I just want to have fun.
Yes. Let's just call it breath sparkles or something. Like, let's get out of this like trudging workforce mode. I agree with you. It does have a turn-off. And I really wish that we didn't think of it like that, right? We thought of it as a relaxing moment, almost because like the spa. Yeah, like you don't go to the spa to work. You want to think of it like a spa moment. It is. Yeah. That's essentially what it is. You're turning inward to touch base with yourself. How are you really today, Caylin, on the inside? My breath is going to give me that answer. So it's only work, I would say, at the beginning when you're learning, and then it becomes your work, like your life's work, right? So you can use a fun spin on that for sure.
That's really beautiful because it is work at first because we're so not used to it. We're really comfortable being pissed off doing the dishes.
Right.
And so it's like, that's where the comfort zone is. So it can be work at first. That's another thing, like the word habit, when you were talking about, it's like, it just becomes my routine, the word habit and routine. I call it sprinkle stacking. Words really matter. I'm like, I'm just sprinkle stacking. That feels so much lighter to me. So it's like, do it your way. What resonates with you? Do it your way. Is there anything else that you'd like to share just in terms of like practical, like this is what I just really want people to know about incorporating this into their lives?
Yes. So for those of you just starting out, or if you're trying to up-level your breath work or just trying to manage it all, okay, don't give up. You're going to want to. You're going to want to almost every day. You're going to want to on the days when it's hard. You're going to want to say, I could just binge Netflix and open this wine bottle. If you don't give up, you will see so much magic happen that it is not going to allow you to stop. So on the days when you don't want to do it the most are the days when you should do it the most. And you will see the results triple fold if you go against that trudging work-like mentality. So slide those moments in. Don't give up on yourself. You can heal yourself. You just have to keep going. And you can do it. If I did it, you can do it.
You're proof in the pudding.
I didn't want to do it.
Caylin, I've asked you this question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I hope people really do understand that it's a good payoff. It's worth it.
Totally. It really is. And yeah, again, you're just proof of that.
And remember when you first started, you walked in and you were like, what is this? Like, I'm not going to cry here. I'm not going to do this. This is ridiculous. And you walked out sobbing, right? Like, this is the part of it, right? You find yourself again through this process, which makes it so much worthwhile. I mean, isn't it a blessing to truly know yourself? It's like you're becoming the kid that you used to be all over again. All you're doing is breathing into it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I feel like breathwork has brought me home to the person that everybody else knows that I am, but I forgot. Like I forgot her and somehow everybody else was still meeting her, but I wasn't. Does that make sense? It's really weird. It's kind of like an out of body experience because my family's like, yeah, that's the person you've always been. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Right. Like, Jen, I see you. Why don't you see you? And you're like, I haven't been here for 20 years. Welcome back. Right. It's beautiful. And then you find the joy. So after the work and after the healing, the joy just comes to you. Right. It's like it opens the door to creativity and to play. Right. That's when you can have fun with it. Right. So now there's no reason why you can't incorporate play in your breath work. Like, why not?
Sprinkle stack it.
Yeah, sprinkle second.
Caylin, I asked you this question once because you were on the podcast, but I'm just going to ask you today. Today, where are you seeing the magic?
Oh, I am seeing the magic in the people around me, and this world is lighting up. I'm seeing the magic in little tiny comments online. I'm seeing the magic in the smallest of ways at the grocery store. I'm seeing the magic in little people lifting things up. I'm seeing all of these people fighting the darkness with light. And there's so much darkness still out there that with these little micro moments of light, we are like becoming this magical force. And I see it every day and it just keeps coming to me. And I am so grateful, but I'm seeing it in these little tiny ways everywhere. Just the people around us are starting to be okay shining their light, right? It's like, oh, I can say this now. Oh, I can support this now without being weird. Yes, you can. So I love to see that magic out there.
Freaking gorgeous. Thank you for mentioning without being weird. It's like I'm everything's weird and I also love it. So I really resonate with that so much. Okay. Where can people find you? Where can people get your book? Like where can they connect? I know they're going to want to if they haven't yet already.
Yes, please come on into the Caylin family. I am at healyourlifewithus.com. I am at Breathe With Me, Caylin Brie on YouTube at CBCINKED. We have monthly healing events. We have retreats coming up. We've got all of fantastic resources for you to heal. And my book is on Amazon, Change Your Story, and also Goldify. And I'm here. I'm here for you. So reach out.
So beautiful. And on Insight Timer as well, if you want to go check, and YouTube, you're all over the place. Please go connect with Caylin, do some of her meditations and breath work. It's phenomenal. You put so much goodness into the world.
Thank you. Remember, micro moments of mindfulness. You got this.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that you got something, a deeper understanding about breath work. Maybe you had an aha for yourself about your own healing journey and how you could potentially be incorporating this practice, or maybe other mindfulness practices, some practice that can help you come back home to yourself to start to listen to your body. Maybe you stop trying to push away all of your mind's thoughts and instead accept them and be willing to listen to them and to hear what's here, as Caylin said. It's like this mindset shift for so many of us of just really fully accepting who we are, which is something that I'm so passionate about. And that's what, for me, breathwork has helped me to support. So I'm so in line and just love this message that she shared today about do it your way. And so many of us don't know what our way is, because we've been taught to listen to other people and to do it their way. And so breath work is a beautiful way to begin to understand and to listen to your body and to listen to your own wisdom and say, what way actually feels really great to me. So I hope you take something really good away for yourself from this episode. If there was something that you loved, tell a friend, share it with a friend. Help to raise awareness that this amazing practice is supporting people all over the world, and listen to Thursday's thread, where I will give you a little bit of breath work where you can try some of this out. You can also join. Caylin and I are going to hop on Instagram and do an Instagram live together where she's going to facilitate a little bit of this breath and do a little minute of mindfulness. So go follow both of us on Instagram so that you don't miss that as well. And I look forward to continuing to share all of the brilliance of breathwork with you throughout this month. Thank you again so much for listening. It means the world to me that you would listen to this podcast. You just keep shining your magical unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time.